Hey everybody, welcome back to the Todd and Tony Show, also known as Tech Tips with Todd. And of course,
I thought it was Tony and Todd. TNT?
Yeah, well, so the artwork already clarifies that's Tech Tips with Todd and Tony. So
it is what it is.
All right. Actually, you made the artwork.
I did.
But it was kind of funny today that you were saying, hey, this is where you can find our show. Right. It's the Tony and Todd show.
Right.
So what we'll do
is a subliminal thing, but I didn't want to hurt your feelings.
Maybe what we'll do is we'll just ask, you, the listener, what you guys think, right?
Yeah,
so put it
comment
down below.
What should it be? Should it be Todd and Tony or Todd, or would you just go straight up TNT?
Which I do like that. But whoever goes first has to answer most of the questions.
Yeah, the logo has nothing to do with RVs. It's just a powder keg behind us, which is so stupid, but, that's how we are. All right, well, today we have two amazing guests, and your notifications are on, which is awesome.
I have focus on.
We're going to roll with it, baby. All right, so today we have Sue from Royal Flush RV and Matt and he doesn't need no introduction, but Matt's RV Reviews, the maker of Liquify. So we have somebody that does tank cleanings, and somebody that does or created a really effective chemical that just liquefies.
Well,
I mean, there is no better name than Liquify.
Yeah, I mean, other than hot sauce, because that too liquefies.
It naturally liquefies.
That's right.
It does the job prior to going into the tank.
That's right. Which I'll talk about more. Hey, look, if you don't want to have any type of obstructions, hot sauce it is.
Hot sauce it is.
Yeah.
Well, hey y'all, welcome to the show. This
welcome.
is gonna be fun. We have a ton of questions on this controversial topic. There's been people going around talking about how it's a holding tank.
Yeah.
Stop putting stuff in there.
Stop putting stuff in there like poo.
Well, I think that one's okay.
Yeah.
It's the chemicals. People are saying it's a holding tank.
Right.
Just use water and drop your nuggets in there, and then every once in a while you pull the lever.
You said nuggets. I was wondering, oh man, that's like old man. All right, now when you say chemicals, I do want to point out we're not talking chemicals. We're talking either bacteria or enzymes, something bacteria friendly to help the flora inside the tank. And that's what they're saying is don't make it a septic tank. In other words, tell all the bacteria not to do any work. All right. So anyway.
Well, so first we're going to bring on Sue. Welcome, Sue. How are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing great. Thanks.
So tell us, what do you do in this in the black tank world? I heard there was a let's see, what is it? Sue, Queen of Poo.
Sue, the Queen of Poo.
Queen of Poo.
We have a little ticker going. That's
I love it.
Yeah. Well, you requested it. You said you need that at the bottom of the screen. Did you not?
I did. I mean, how could you go wrong with that? It's too good.
Yeah, make Royal Flush your number 2. Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
So tell us what
I
you
do is I specialize in cleaning out black and gray tanks in RVs. So not just the black, but also the gray, because the gray gets really dirty too. So yeah, I'm excited to talk about it. There is no more fun topic than this to talk about. So we're going to cover a lot of stuff today.
Awesome. And now we also have the one and only Matt's. We didn't even practice that.
Right.
That is great.
Only 6 times.
So, yeah. So Matt, tell us why are you here today? Because we're not reviewing RVs. We're not talking about the prime pooping position. We're talking about the post-prime pooping position. Well, I can't even say that.
Yep. So for those of you who don't know, my name is Matt from the YouTube show MattsRVReviews. And just as Tony said, I review RVs. And part of my whole shtick was I sit on the toilet to check to see if it's a prime pooping position. And we've taken that marketing and everything, and we've branded our own brand of toilet chemical, which is called Liquefied. And Liquefied is the absolute best RV toilet treatment in the industry. And I do want everybody to know that we did not create this chemical. We've partnered with Century Chemical, who's been creating chemical for 96 years. It's so funny because Century Chemical makes a couple other brands, and they're all like hush-hush about it, like the brands don't want people to know. I would like people to know that I did not make this in my bathtub, that we've partnered with experts, and we found out who makes the best, and we put our name on it, and now this is the absolute best toilet chemical in the industry.
Yeah, and I remember asking him, I said, "Hey, brother, I know you didn't come up with this. You white labeled this." He goes, "Oh, hell yeah, I did. Don't let anyone think I made this."
No. I mean, so what we did was, and I don't know if you guys remember, we tested the 15 best toilet treatments in the industry, and then we figured out who made the best, and we went to them and we said, "Hey, you guys make the best stuff. Can you make some for us?" And they said yes. I said, obviously, I want orange scent, orange flavor, and
wait, orange flavor?
Yeah.
Not orange flavor, orange scent.
Well, so you can actually drink it, and begin to liquefy.
And then it liquefies before it goes into the tank. Yeah. No, don't do that.
So we call that a
And
pre-treatment?
then,
That's a pre-treatment.
right.
Yeah.
And so then I asked for these cool bottles that has the 1 ounce pre-measuring spout, so it's real easy. And then since then, we've expanded into tablets and the all-new lavender scent.
So are the tablets for the millennials who like to, pop the pods in their mouth?
Yeah.
There we go.
Yeah, like the Tide Pod Challenge, but the liquefied pod
Go ahead
challenge.
and alienate 2% of our audience.
Yeah, they're probably going to be offended as they're chewing on their Tide Pods.
Well, we have a list of questions here, and what we're hoping is to find where y'all agree and where y'all disagree, and then just like Springer, man, we're going to let y'all have at it, and we're going to stand back and just cheer you on and see who wins. So the first one here is, Matt, what inspired you to create RV Liquify, and how does it help break down waste? What's different about your product?
Yeah, well, if anybody knows a thing or two about a stinky black tank, it's me. No, so obviously, we're Matt's RV Reviews, and that's our business. But I read the book Rich Dad Poor Dad. Long story short, Matt's RV Reviews isn't a real business. It's more of a sole proprietorship. And when I say that, I mean, if I stop filming, if I break my leg, me, Andrea, Will, and Jen, we all lose our jobs, right? So I was really like, man, we have all these sponsors on the show, and, we make the money. Like, why don't we become our own sponsor and start our own product? And at first I thought making toilets would be funny because I always test the toilet. And then, come up with toilet chemical. And then, again, obviously we're using the branding of the prime pooping position right there. And, just changing the RV black tank chemical industry.
Very
cool.
Man,
I keep saying chemicals.
Chemicals.
Yeah.
Chemicals,
man. Enzymes or bacteria? All right.
Yes.
We're gonna pitch one over to Sue.
Yeah,
Sue.
Let's ask Sue a question.
Got a question for you. What is the importance of regularly cleaning the black tanks and gray tanks? You get a lot of people that'll come on and say, "Hey, look, I've been, full-time living for 20 years. I've never had to clean a black tank, never had a problem. Why would we ever hire some professional to come do that?"
Yeah, so I hear that a lot. I hear that a lot from people that say, "Hey, I'm here, you're here. Let's just have you clean them. I don't think there's going to be much in there. I am meticulous about the products I use." So I hear that all the time. And then I say, "Okay, great. Let's find out what's in there." And so I go in and clean the tanks out, and what starts pouring out, and the client is almost always standing right there with me, and they're blown away. I've had people videotape what comes out. I've had people shocked and scream at what comes out. Yeah, because,
I like how you're talking black tank, and blown away is the phrase that's used.
Oh, wow. I got stories. But they think that because the water is running clear when they rinse it out and do all of what they do in their routine that they do, that it's clean. And it's not necessarily clean. It's just coming out clear. So when I go in there and I use basically, it's called a sewer jetter. It's a high powered hydrojet to go in there and clean everything out. That actually cleans out what's been sticking on the walls and building up and settling in the belly and all those things that just dumping a tank cannot get at. And then that stuff starts pouring out and people are shocked about it. So it's one thing to take really good care of your tanks and flush them and use a lot of water and use a good tank product, which I do highly recommend. But occasionally you're going to want to get in there and get them cleaned out because it's going to mess up the sensors. The odor's there's going to be odor in there. You can have clogs and pyramids. There's all kinds of things that can be going on in there, and people are usually shocked at what comes out when they actually get them professionally cleaned.
Okay, so both of you, when you hear, of course, YouTube is probably the leading source of misinformation on any topic, right? So,
have you seen Matt's RV reviews?
For evidence of that, you can go over to Matt's RV Reviews.
I wasn't going to say it out loud.
I was going to say the NRVTA, but
No. Well, actually,
my channel.
Yeah. So, what is better, treatment or cleaning, or do you do both? I guess how do chemical treatments and professional cleaning complement each other, or do they not? Well, okay. Here's the thing. In the world,
so ready to answer.
In the world of misinformation, I've been seeing a lot of influencers talk about how it's just a holding tank.
Yeah.
You don't need anything. But I have had a situation where I was using it as a holding tank, and I ended up with a leak, and I ended up, because over time, building a pyramid, right? I know how the Egyptians did it. It was one burrito at a time, right? And that was a bad situation. Now, had I been using some kind of treatment, I probably wouldn't have had such a buildup. It would have ended up being more of a slushy mush. So I asked y'all.
I'll let Sue answer first.
All right.
All right. Yes. Yes. It's important to actually take care of your tanks. They are a holding tank, but there's a lot going in there at the same time. There's a lot happening in those holding tanks while they're sitting there.
So what do you mean take care of?
I've experimented.
Is that
take
cleaning,
care of,
or is that with treatment?
Actually, both. So the treatment is what you do on a regular basis that you as an RV owner can do and should do. And I recommend actually treating both the black and the gray tanks. People are not aware of how much is going on in the gray tank. So black and gray tanks should be treated with a tank product every time you dump, or regularly, because that's going to keep the tank working well. It's going to keep the breakdown happening. It's going to keep the odor from going crazy. It's going to really take care of things in there. And then on an occasional basis, and it's going to depend on a lot of things, you should get your tanks professionally cleaned as well. Some people every 6 months to a year, some people can go a little bit longer, but it's a really important thing to do on top of the regular treatment that you as an RV owner should be doing to take care of those tanks.
Okay.
I 100% agree. An analogy I like to tell people is Liquified or the other brands, even my enemies, any toilet treatment, that's your daily brushing. Every time you dump your tank, you should pour some more Liquified in. And then I think once or twice, maybe even 3 times a year, you should go in for that deep cleaning. But again, to Sue's point, it just depends on who you are. Like Will and Jen, they full time, so they get their deep clean twice a year. Mm-hmm. So it really just depends on who you are, how your poop sticks to it. To be honest with you, and that's a great point about the gray tank, right? So Liquified in most enzymes and bacteria, they do work for gray tanks as well. I know ours does. And what's funny is both times that Will and Jen got their tanks dumped, their gray tanks were significantly more disgusting than their black tanks.
Yes, they smell worse. They're dirtier because most people don't treat them. They don't do any maintenance on their gray tanks. They think it's just soap and water and it's fine. And I can tell you there's a lot more going on in there.
Oh, yeah.
I do know, staying at a park, one of the things that you absolutely do not put in there is something that would affect an actual septic tank. We mentioned, this isn't a septic tank. Well, a lot of the holding tanks will wind up in a septic tank at certain parts.
Yeah. So, no harsh chemicals, no astringents, no, what do they call it? Dissolving chemicals. I don't want to use names, brand names out there, but that actually kills the actual natural bacteria that's coming from your gut and everything else. And I do want to point out there are going to be different experiences. And I think for me, as a technician, to delineate between what the Liquify can do and what Sue can do, it's really addressing 2 different things. Liquified goes after the organics, the stuff that we eat and produce. It can break down paper, but it doesn't dissolve paper. And the additional cleaning gets rid of those stuff that can't be broken down, but it also gets rid, her system gets rid of the struvite, which is going to be all the different minerals. And this is where people have different experiences. You go to different places, there's different minerals in the water, mineral content. Some interact with others, and you get all that buildup. And so, regardless, as she's saying, you can have clear water coming out.
Quote milk.
It'd just be a total mess on the inside.
My tank's full of milk.
Yeah,
it's
milk.
just clear white
Absolutely.
water. Hey, Sue, didn't you? Did you say you went and grabbed some
Show and smell.
I
Was
did.
it Struvite?
Yeah.
Yes, I have what I call my artifacts that I pull out of tanks.
Can we see some of the artifacts on what you pull out?
We can see some. I got a lot of good stuff. I'm going to show you one of my bigger samples if you can see it. That's
a Tuesday for me.
I'm going to have you hear it. This is an example of some bigger pieces of struvite. You can see, I don't know if you can see it very well, but it's
if you
basically
just hold it in front of the camera.
Yeah, instead of out to the side, that'd be nice.
Right there.
Yeah.
There we go.
There
Like
you
that.
go.
Okay.
We
so
prefer in frame.
These are some
Yeah.
bigger pieces. I know. It's like it keeps going farther out. These are some pretty. Let's see on this side too. Some pretty big pieces of struvite. Struvite is basically the result of off-gassing of human waste and minerals in the water. So many people are going to have struvite in their tanks, and this is an example of what happens when it builds up over time. And this was basically built around the pipes and around corners because you can see it's
So
curved.
it's from off-gassing?
Here's another
so
big
how do I
bag
not have
of
that in my
stuff
pants?
that came out of this.
Well, let the minerals build up.
This builds over time. I hope that this builds up over time, but it can happen pretty fast. And this is just from one
Okay,
black
let's zoom in
tank
on that.
that came out of one black
smokes.
tank. And
Now, this is the consistency
so-
of dried clay, isn't it? I mean, you can snap it off almost like peanut brittle.
yeah. So this is. I mean, you can hear it. It's basically like it sounds like concrete. And when I get in there, and if it's little pieces, it doesn't always come out like this. Some of it basically comes out and looks like. Let's see. I got all kinds of stuff here.
Okay.
I know. Somebody told me I should make jewelry out of it. I'm like, I am not making jewelry out of this. But here's some more that's more like sand. So when it's small and in pieces, it just looks like sand. So it can be in different ways, but a lot of times it'll settle in the belly of because it's heavier than the surrounding stuff. So it'll settle in the belly of the tank, or it'll form around the sides of the tank. And that is not coming out by dumping your tanks. That takes professional equipment to get in there and first of all just work it off the walls and work it off the different parts inside there, but also to be able to pull it out because it's heavy and it usually settles in there, and that stuff will make a mess of the tank.
I guess what I'm asking is, if you let that continue to build up and build up and build up, what's going to happen?
There's a lot of things that can happen with struvite, especially. There's a lot of things that can happen because it's heavy and it settles in the belly. I've seen it. It can drop tanks because it's so heavy. It can pull them out of the plumbing. It'll clog up the piping so that it'll take the pipe and start shrinking it because it's built up in there. So it's shrinking the available space for the liquid and the stuff to come out.
Exactly.
It's
like calcium buildup.
And it'll definitely mess up sensors. It'll mess up all kinds of things in there. It'll hold odor. There's a lot of things that struvite does, and it's not limited to the RV industry. I mean, there's struvite everywhere. It's in boats, it's in plumbing, it's in everywhere. We just don't hear about it, and we definitely don't talk about it in the RV industry enough.
Matt, any words on how does Liquify help with any of that, or is it
Struvite? No. Struvite? No. So Liquefied is enzyme and bacteria. Just to Todd's point, it helps break down the waste, controls the odor, and will break down toilet paper, but won't dissolve the toilet paper. Toilet paper is real tough.
All right, so throwing it to Sue, or who's got the next question?
I don't know. We'll do a grab bag.
All right, are there any specific do's or don'ts when using Liquify? And I'll throw that to Matt.
Do's or don'ts. I don't have any don'ts, right?
Drink it.
Don't drink
I
it.
would say the do's.
Don't drink it.
Don't pour it on open wounds. I mean, I can come up with a handful.
Although
right?
that orange scent, it's Is the other one grape?
No, it's lavender. We made sure not to make it grape. But no, I mean, so there's not very many don'ts. What I would say is use it in the gray tank, just like Sue's saying. And what we do is we tell people that all you need is 1 ounce. Some people will require 2 ounces for that additional odor, but it just depends on who you are and how your poo is. What I tell people is don't flush your money down the toilet and use 2 ounces if 1 ounce is working fine for you. Depending on who you are and how your poop smells, to be honest with you, that's when you're going to want to use 2 ounces. Some people even 3, but don't initially start off with 2 ounces. Try 1 ounce, see if 1 ounce works for you. I'm in Will and Jen's unit. They only use 1 ounce, and it smells totally fine in here. But there is we have had some occasions where people need to use 2 or 3 ounces. But just plan accordingly. Don't just use 3 ounces right off the bat. As much as I would love to sell you a lot of liquefied, I also don't think you need to use that much.
I think some of the do's and don'ts. Don't put it in and then instantly dump your tank. You got to give it time. So you put it in after you've dumped your tank and added additional water.
So I totally missed your question. Okay. Yeah, don't put it in and then dump your tank. Dump your tank, flush your tank, and then put it in. Also, you're going to want to add some water into it when you dump, so that way it kind of gets in there, depending on your tank size. I'd say about 5 gallons would be good.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm new, right, and I have no idea, I'm seeing all this information on the tubes, and I'm buying everything under the sun. Of course, when you buy an RV for the first time, they don't let you leave without buying everything you don't need from the little gift shop there, right, Matt? You know all about that.
Hey, I can't confirm nor deny.
Because we won't go there. But so what are the absolute do's?
The do's. The do's are, number one, you've heard this before, but people don't do this correctly, is use a lot of water or use plenty of water. And one of the things that's going to help the most is don't just think of using a lot of water when you go to the bathroom as, hey, I'm just going to put my foot down on the foot pedal and let a little more trickle down there. So I teach people that I want you to think about it with the volume of water, about 1 gallon to 1.5 gallons, all at once. So fill the bowl up. This is with solids, so you don't have to worry about this with liquids. But if you got solids and you want to get them down into the bowl and not have a problem down there, fill up the bowl and flush it all at once.
So a new RVer, you have to learn where that...
You have to feather that pedal halfway down.
You got to feather the pedal to where it's not open, but yet the valve's open.
Can I keep the thing shut and still have water go in there? And some don't let you do that.
And you haven't put any water in there yet.
Oh, that's a bigger problem.
Just saying.
I had to think about that for a second.
A time or two.
Yeah.
That's going to be messier. There's going to be more of an issue. I actually recommend to people, truthfully, if you can, if there's time, fill about halfway full of water first, then fill the rest of the way with water. That's going to keep everything
she doesn't worry about
cleaner,
the plop plop.
and it's going to send everything down.
Right.
Right. Well,
there is that. Like I said, if you can, it's going to help.
And it's like a built-in bidet right there.
And I can tell you that a lot of people, if you're going to have the most issues I've seen as far as getting things clogged, getting the toilet clogged, it's almost always going to be a fifth wheel because of the plumbing of how it is. It's the plumbing, everything's got to go through about 5 feet of pipe often just to get down to the tank. So the water trick with the toilet flush, especially important. Matt already said, once you dump your tank, put some water in there, 3 to 5 gallons. If you've got big tanks, 5 to 10 gallons. Get some water in there so there's water on the surface of that tank. Because if you think about it, if you're going into that tank, stuff's sticking in there, and you don't want stuff to stick. You want it to move around. So more water is going to help. The other thing that I recommend to people is I actually recommend that you don't wait until it's totally full to dump. I actually recommend dump when it's about 3/4 of the way full. And there's a couple of reasons for that. One main reason is I don't want people accidentally, because it's very easy to go from 3/4 to all of a sudden over full. And I don't want people to compromise their tank by overfilling them. So I recommend actually dumping them at about 3/4 of the way and then dump it, especially, and Matt can probably talk about this, especially in the summer. I have a lot of people in the summer when it's 105 here in Texas, and they'll say, hey, now that it's summer, about a day or two before I dump, it really starts to smell. What should I do? And my answer is always dump a day or two early. You're just trying to it's baking in there. Dump it earlier. And then if you need to do another dump of as clean as you can get water, fresh water, put water in it and dump it again, that's really going to help. But water is one of the main things. And then for the gray tanks, the main thing with the gray tanks is be careful what you're putting in there. So a lot of people, like when I started RVing, I'm in my Airstream right now. When I started RVing, I had never RV'd. I didn't know anything about it. And I washed dishes like I did in my house. And everything that was on my plate went down into the tank. And I can tell you that is going to mess up your tank. So be careful of what goes down there. Get little strainers, wipe your dishes off before you wash them, dump stuff out into the garbage. So like
greases and stuff you want to put into a different container?
Grease, like butter on the plate, salad dressing, a little bit of ice cream left in the thing. All that stuff is going to make a big poop.
I don't know what you're talking about.
You're talking about a lot of quitters. If there's food still on the plate, they're quitters.
Yeah. That's not cool.
Unless you're licking the plate, there's something on the plate. And it's going to go down in there, and it's going to meet its other greasy fat friends down there. They're going to touch and collect, and they're going to stick all over everything, and that's going to mess up your sensors. It's going to smell. That's what creates the smell down there in the gray tanks. And people, again, don't think of the fact that the gray tanks are as much of a thing to take care of than the black tanks are. So those are a few things that you can do to take care of them. There's a bunch more, but those are the few most common things that I tell people to do to take care of them.
Two topics.
And
one,
tank treatment in.
Summertime stench and sensors. Right? Can we tackle those two? All right. So what you want to talk about the summertime pews?
The summertime blues, the summertime pews. I like that.
What do we do? And I guess, Matt, this is a good question for you too, since your product can
2 ounces
aid
instead of 1.
Is that
summer blend? Yeah,
right. The summer blend. Yeah,
right.
Summer brew.
No, the summer Sam Adams summer select. No, it's really really tough, and I definitely must agree with Todd. You have to double up, maybe even triple up, which is really, really tough because, I don't want to market this as, 16 ounces or 5 treatments, but, right, because it's 16 ounces. So, if you're camping in the fall or winter, like Will and Jen, they get 16 uses out of this. Whereas if they were in Florida right now or Texas, you're going to need to double up and triple up. But what's really tough for me is I don't want to tell people to use 2 ounces or 3 ounces or 4 ounces if it's not needed. You know what I'm saying? Here's what I will say. We did get some negative reviews last month on Amazon because the odor control wasn't to where a lot of, and then I looked at all my competitors and everybody, dude, the month of August, everybody got destroyed because it's so hot in these RVs. And at first, again, I'm a new business owner and I took all of that to heart. I was looking these people up on Facebook and trying to send them a refund or new bottles or something. But at the end of the day, when it's 105 degrees and you're just getting that, we're not magicians. So that was really tough for me. Here's what I do know.
It's your fault.
Right.
The tablets are more potent than the than the liquid is.
That speaks volumes that you actually started stalking people that were leaving bad reviews. I think that's important. That's
in their life. Nice. I don't have any.
Why we don't have any 4-star reviews?
Because they're all shot.
They're not here anymore.
Yeah.
We got a lot of land in Texas. No. But yeah, so, when it's really hot, my recommendation is you got to double up and even triple up on your toilet
and I will tell you,
Sue, what's your
before I found your product, I did a lot of reviews on this stuff, and that is common. Yep. Right, you have to overcome the heat. Right, you're going to have a lot of these. Now, I can tell you the enzymes, the bacteria, they're going to eat your poo, and then off gas. Mm-hmm. It's going to be smelly. But as to Sue's point, that's when and that's what I always say, around 3/4, or when you can no longer stand it. Dump it.
Yeah,
get rid of it. There's a lot of bacteria, a lot of enzymes, a lot of poo all built up. Get rid of it.
Yeah.
Just expect it.
Well, and I think like Matt said, I mean, sometimes people expect it to do a miracle, in the summer when it's hot. It's really, it's going to be hard. Like it's bacon in there.
If it was bacon, that'd be different.
Yeah.
Do you have a bacon flavored?
Oh my
gosh. Oh my gosh, Matt. Work on that.
No.
Yeah.
Maybe a pumpkin spice for those people in October.
Yeah. That sounds terrible.
See,
yeah, pumpkin spice. No, so we did a limited edition alliance one where we turned the chemical blue, and I was thinking for the Hershey show we should make it like Hershey chocolate. Yeah, but we decided
when good marketing goes bad.
I know there's viewers that are screaming, "Hey, to get rid of the odor, do the Geo Method." Now, before I give my 2 cents, either one of you want to go ahead and cover a little bit about the Geo Method?
Are you talking Calgon and Pine Sol?
Yeah. Dawn soap as well.
Respectfully, I'll let Sue answer this. Here's why. Because my opinion is going to be biased with my product. So I will let Sue, who doesn't sell a product,
he sells a service.
And I get that question a lot, and I get the same question on things like, how about the ice, bag of ice in the tank, and the, a cup of Dawn in the tank, and all kinds of other things. And believe me, before I did what I do now, before I clean tanks, I tried all of those, and I can tell you that they really don't do the job. They are not going to do what you want them to do. I mean, they're good intention. I know they're very good intention, but they're not going to do what you want them to do. They're not meant to actually do the work in the tank that a product like Liquified does. They're just not going to be able to do it. I've had people that have poured all that stuff in there, and then they have me come in to clean stuff out, and all that happens is we just make a huge mess of foam, and all kinds of stuff starts pouring out because of the stuff that they've poured into it. So I know people have good intentions. Those recipes go all around the internet, and everybody has an opinion on them. And I'm going to tell you, as a tank cleaner, seeing what actually comes out, they're not worth the effort of
and I'll give my opinion, and it's educated with this.
It's pseudoscience.
It's pseudoscience. Pseudoscience. All right, so first off, you'll also see it marketed as a natural alternative, and there's nothing natural about putting Calgon in your black tank. Now, here's the thing. It does address some of the odor, but the problem is that Calgon is going to kill the flora inside the tank, and therefore you are now susceptible, depending on your poo, depending on the water content and whatnot. Now you're going to be susceptible to having buildup of large objects, solids. So it does. I will say because people will say no, it gets rid of the odor. It does. It can help with that. Now, can you do the same thing? Does it get rid of the odor when you're 3/4 full in August? No.
There is, if you want like a 3-week break on heavy solids, you could always just go on the carnivore diet.
And that's part of, and I will say it almost sounds funny. If you're a heavy carb eater, you're going to have sticky poo.
Sticky poo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that bread just goes on through and becomes a tortilla on the way out.
That's for sure.
So, to the sensors.
The sensors.
What? Who wants to cover the sensor thing? Because that is probably a very hot topic on the webs.
Yes, I would say
my sensors don't work.
The most accurate thing in the RV. Yeah.
You want to take that
one?
I
will take that one, unless you want to, Matt. But I'm happy to jump in on that one.
Yeah, I'd rather have you do it. It's really tough because we're looking at doing a sensor cleaner, and I've actually met the people that make the sensors, and we're working with them on it. It's just such a tough subject because I was talking to them, and I'm not even sure if I'm allowed to say this or not, but one of the big problems is the manufacturers, like they could make the sensors
like
better,
forced.
but the manufacturers don't want to pay. Yeah, exactly. So it's really, really tough. And then it's just like, is there something on the sensor? Is there, it's tough. I've had people dump a whole bottle of liquefied and it said now their sensors work. I have 5 or 6 people that have told me that. And then I've had people where I've given them a whole bottle of liquefied for free and they said that their sensors still don't work. So that's there's
Variables.
So many.
Yeah.
That's tough.
So, and I can tell you from the perspective of what I do, is that, and I tell people this, that if the sensors are broken, that's obviously a thing, but it's much more rare than people think because everyone says, oh, those RV sensors never work. Knowing what I know now, I can tell you, yeah, they actually do work. They're just telling you there's something on either the sensor or on the side of the tank, and it's affecting the reading of the sensors. So when I go in and clean the tank, I'd say 90% of the time, those sensors are back to working. They just needed to be cleaned. There was just, like, if you got something like this that's built up on your sensors, a tank product is not going to take that off. And dumping the tank is not going to take that off. But me going in there and cleaning those off, those sensors start working again. There's a few that don't. I mean, I can't promise people that they will because I don't know if the sensors themselves are broken. But about 90% of the time, if I just go in there and clean those tanks, that's the first thing people do. They run inside and they go, oh, the sensors are E. The sensors are E. They haven't been at E ever since we've owned this rig. So that's part of, I call that the icing on the cake of the tank cleaning if the sensors start working after, because almost always they do.
Yeah.
They're just dirty. They just had buildup on them, whatever the buildup might be. It might be grease or Struvite or whatever, but it's just buildup.
And see, Todd and Tony, if I could say something, that's what I absolutely love. So many people, there's a lot of information right now that, like, one is better, like Sue is better than toilet chemical, or toilet chemicals better than cleaning your tank. No, it's not. This isn't in place of. This is in addition to. So, that's why I always tell people they have to get their tanks professionally cleaned. It's like going to the dentist. You're brushing your teeth with this, and then Sue's the dentist that really drills in and gets that.
How did that go?
The toothbrush. She's the deep
visual.
cleaner.
Yeah.
Right?
We're using, brushing teeth as an analogy to cleaning your black tank.
So I guess we're not going to find anything you two disagree on. So what we can do now is, Sue, let us know, how does somebody reach you? How if I want my tanks cleaned? Time out.
So
if I want my
website,
black or gray tank cleaned, how do we get a hold of you?
Go to my website. It's royalflushrv.com, and there's information there as well as a form that people can fill out and let me know that they want their tanks.
Matt, how do we
For your product, where's the best place to go besides Amazon, eBay, or Walmart? .com.
Yeah, I think you set me up for something. I don't know.
It was just on the. It's on the Chiron down below you.
Yes, you can go to primepoopposition.com, or right there we sell it on Amazon, eBay, Walmart.com, and we are at store shelves at your local general RV.
That is really cool. Yeah, we were so excited when we saw that you came out with a product, just because of who you are. You're a friend, but
I told him, dude, if this stuff doesn't work, I'm gonna let you know.
We're gonna let everybody know. But we ran the test, and we were actually really, really impressed. We did a time lapse, and it's like, this stuff goes to town.
Actually, he was sending me pictures because we did it in the office here, and I went back to actually do work. Well, he kind of farts around here.
What was that supposed to mean?
Well, anyway. But he was sending me pictures, and we were going to give it overnight, and I will say there's several products that do fine.
Yeah.
But, we didn't even get overnight. It was just a couple hours.
We took the top, so we've done other tests, and then we took the best of all those tests and put it against Liquified.
Yeah.
And it did better.
And the other ones are good, too.
Hey.
Used to talk about them, still would talk about them, but... I got one that's better and tastes like oranges, man.
Right, orange flavored, and then they're coming out with an Oktoberfest brew. I think that's going to be great. You don't have to worry about the dyes or colors because it's already orange. You could pull pumpkin off.
Yeah, I
easily
think
with
so.
that. Yeah.
Yeah.
The purple, lavender. My wife would
lavender
like
makes
lavender.
you go to sleep. You're gonna fall asleep on the toilet. Yeah, that doesn't make sense.
But definitely, thank you all for coming. And this was great. It was a good topic. And yeah, thanks a lot.
Hey, shit's about to get real.
All right, so that was awesome.
Yeah.
You know, it's not often you get to have two rock stars like that on a show.
And it was really good because it addresses two different things, and I think we clarified, a lot of the misconceptions out there, either or nothing. Now it's an all approach.
All right, so let us know in the comments, do you think it's a holding tank that
Right.
you don't need anything in? Or maybe you should listen to the professionals who are out there in the field cleaning these things. Maybe you should put something in. So let us know in the comments what you use. Have you tried Liquified? Put in the comments, let us know. We may talk to Matt and see about getting some kind of code or something, but this was not a sponsored thing. We're just, we're friends with Matt. He's awesome. And he made a product that actually works, so it's easy to get behind.
I think if you're in the area with Sue and you do want a professional cleaning, to go ahead and clean out, all of that.
If you want your tanks cleaned.
Yeah. Reach out to Royal Flush RV.
All right. Well, this show was brought to you by Big Beard Batteries, the only lithium battery. No, I'm kidding.
And it was actually made by me, not just white labeled.
Yeah. That was good. That was good. No, we should start talking about Big Beard Batteries on the show a little bit. Hey, you got the shirt.
Yeah, as a sponsor, it was just, this one, two different things. So, it's one of those things. But obviously, just kind of position the cameras.
Right.
And have it all
so
set
you just
up.
have to cover all the other things
All
that
the
we
other
have
ones
our
up.
hands in.
RV Unplugged. No, we'll leave that one open as well.
Well, hey, everybody, it's been about 45 minutes. So like and subscribe. Let your friends know we are doing deep dives on tech tip content.
So you laughed at me the first time we said that.
Todd's 2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday.
Todd's 2-Minute Tech Tip Tuesday. Yeah.
So, hey, thanks, y'all. We'll see you next time.